hard-hitting Brazilian Acelino Freitas, beset by distractions, also his wedding, erasing July and September dates with Joel Casamayor, who called the cancellations excuses to avoid fighting him. But Freitas told us he wishes he were fighting Casamayor tonight. Apparently his problems are behind him, and following an 8-month layoff, eager to resume with new trainer Oscar Suarez, Bobby, who said for the first time ever, Freitas had an actual training camp.
You know what? Oscar Suarez is a longtime friend. I know him almost 25 years. I know he knows the business, he knows the fighters, and he knows the game. And I tend to believe the things that he said we'll see in a short time.
As mentioned, Acelino Freitas got married this past May, and there is his lovely new bride, Eliana, in the crowd cheering him on tonight. And we'll look at Alfred Kotey, a natural flyweight, former WBO bantamweight champ. Some quality opposition. Long stretches of inactivity, though. Sharp, clever boxer, but can be a stationary target, often reluctant to trade with opponents he shouldn't fear. Bobby, your overview. Kotey experienced, but beyond his prime. Freitas always dangerous. But will the inactivity and focus be factors?
Well, Freitas is obviously a great puncher with an aggressive style. He's going to come right at Kotey, which is going to force Kotey to move and not be a stationary target. That's imperative. If Kotey moves and stays on top of his game, he could take this fight into late rounds. But if he stands still, this night will be short.
You see the tribal markings on his face from the Ga tribe in Ghana, although now residing in the Bronx, New York. Let's check the numbers for this over-the-weight fight. Acelino Freitas getting the shirt off, turned 26 8 days ago, 7 years younger than Kotey. The height almost even, 2.5-inch reach advantage. Freitas, yesterday's weigh-in, Freitas and Kotey 134.5. Freitas 139 tonight, Kotey 138.5. Key rules for this non-title bout: no standing 8, no 3 knockdown. Fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. If an accidental headbutt occurs before the end of the fourth, it's a technical draw. After the end of the fourth, they go to the scorecards. So here at Miccosukee, we're getting ready for Acelino Freitas and Alfred Kotey, scheduled for 10. Let's get the formal introductions from our ring announcer, Ronnie Duncan.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the Miccosukee Indian Gaming and Resort here in Miami, Florida, for an evening of professional boxing brought to you by America Presents in association with Banner Promotions and Showtime Championship Boxing. This bout has been sanctioned by the Miccosukee Athletic Commission. Your chairman is Billy Cypress. The judges for this contest are Michael Pernick, Mark Streisand, and Peter Trematera. Your referee for this bout is the very capable Tommy Kimmons. All right, fight fans, here we go. A 10-round super featherweight special attraction. Presenting first, in the blue corner, wearing the purple trunks with yellow trim, fighting out of Accra, Ghana. This young man weighed in at 134.5 pounds. His professional record is 24 wins, 7 losses, 1 draw, and 15 knockouts. Please welcome the former WBO bantamweight champion of the world, Alfred Kotey. His opponent tonight across the ring in the red corner, wearing the gold and green trunks, from Salvador, Brazil. This young man also weighed in at 134.5 pounds. He has an impressive record, 29 wins, no losses, all wins by knockout. Please welcome the current WBO Junior Lightweight Champion of the World, Acelino Freitas!
Gentlemen, this is a 10-round fight, and you received your instructions. I want to remind you, this audience is here to watch you fight, so keep it clean. Touch him up.
Freitas hasn't fought since late January, but his last 2 fights ending emphatically in the first, forecasting another short night tonight. 12 of his 29 knockouts in the first round, so don't blink. He goes for the early finish. Kotey fought most of his career at lower weights. In his prime, a pretty fast starter, dangerous early. As mentioned, sharp, acute, economical with his punches, has a good chin. He's never been stopped, but not known for great punching power at this point of his career. He had above average power at the lower weights.
One of the things that Oscar Suarez, Freitas' new trainer, said is they've tried to increase the speed of Freitas. His power is excellent. Want to increase his speed so he gets there a little quicker. That is an awesome combination.
Stop! Nope.
How do you actually increase your speed?
Well, there's some different techniques. You work on the way you throw the punch, the way you deliver it. There's paths that the punches travel that are quicker to the target. That's one of the ways.
Freitas emerging from the shanty towns of Brazil to become that country's third world champion and a beloved star. They follow him like a movie star. He's a matinee idol in Brazil, following the footsteps of champions Edhir Joffre from the 60s and Miguel de Oliveira in the 70s. Extremely heavy-handed for a little man. Wicked right, good left hook, razor-sharp accuracy.
There's a good right hand to the temple by Freitas. Kotey didn't really blink.
Biggest problem for Freitas, maintaining the weight. Freitas confident but not cocky. And he is a man in a hurry in the opening round, and he's landing with rights and lefts.
You notice too, Kotey's leaning over a lot to his right, trying to make Freitas throw a longer right hand, which will take some of the power off it, but I don't know if he's being as effective as he needs to be.
Freitas has 19 of his 29 knockouts within 2 rounds, 22 in 3 rounds or less. He has never been past 9. And he averages 2.86 rounds per fight. So one of those don't go to the fridge type fighters. And he whacks away at the head of Kotey.
He's landing the right hand, but he's not landing it as cleanly as I think he'd like. Kotey is turning on it pretty good, which will minimize the power, but he's getting hit with too many of them too early.
Kotey, who promised he was going to give us a lot more movement, so far we have not seen it. He also says his experience will be a big factor here, but big talk against the Brazilian Freitas.
He also said that he was going to stick that jab as he gets hit with another right hand. He's going to stick that jab in Freitas' face to offset that right hand, and he's not doing that at all.
Freitas surprised us, raised our eyebrows when he said he planned to go down to 126 to take on Marco Antonio Barrera when he's been struggling with his weight and trying to keep it at around 130.
And his trainer attributed that to the fact that he's never had a nutritional program, he's never taken supplements or had a real training camp, and they find that now they can make the weight much easier. And, well, we'll see. He's still over the weight now at 34.5.
Well, perhaps a moral victory for Kotey, who looks to be lasting past the first round. Bobby, let's get your keys to victory for this fight.
Let's go to Acelino Freitas first. For him, keep the fight on the inside. He's a much better inside fighter. Next, while he's in there, work the body. He needs to wear down and slow down the movement of Kotey. And lastly, land his power shots. He has legitimate one-punch KO power. For Kotey, he's going to want to use speed and outside movement. He cannot stay stationary. He will get hurt. Also, establish the jab, offset the right hand, and score points while keeping Freitas on the outside. And lastly, sharp counterpunch. Freitas is going to come forward. We know that. Make him miss and make him pay.
We have 10 more rounds to go. Just take your time.
Take a look at this right hand. Over the top. He's landing it all day. That one misses. That one lands in a grazing fashion. And that one lands a little more cleanly. Freitas overworking the right hand, but none of them landing fully or cleanly.
John Paul Gonzalez helping us out with the translation. Oscar Suarez was in the face of Acelino Freitas. Suarez originally from Puerto Rico, making his home in Paterson, New Jersey for many years. Once trained Nassim Hamed, Omar Sheikha, Jose Revolta, and Antonio Nieves, so a lot of experience.
I've worked with Oscar many years and years ago in Blue Castell Sportsman Club in Paterson. He has been around quite some time.
Freitas told us the long layoff and distractions will not factor in. It's very cool and calm, intended to jump on Kotey early and make this another fast fight. Well, we're into round 2. The last 2 fights prior to tonight, Freitas put his opponent out in the first.
Well, one of the things Kotey said he really wanted to try and do was take Freitas deep and see what he has in the late rounds. Since he's only been 9 rounds once, he thought that might be prudent, but he's got to do something in between. He can't just give away all these early rounds. Right now he's not doing enough to win any part of the round, never mind a whole round.
Freitas, a no-frills fighter. He's all about power. You won't see many jabs from the man in green and gold and blue. He says it's not important to him to maintain that perfect KO record, just to keep on winning. He's looking for his 30th victory, 29-0, 29 knockouts. Freitas with a right-left combination and another left. A three-punch combination by Freitas to the head.
The right hand landed pretty good. The left hook was blocked, but it was so powerful that it drove Kotey back 2 feet.
Freitas, as per usual, forcing the action. Kotey never down, never stopped. But being pressured from the get-go. There's another heavy right hand to the head by Freitas. Another punishing right cross followed by a left hook.
See, these punches are heavy, and they may not show up right away, but come around the 7 or 8, if we get there, those punches will do an enormous amount of damage. He has heavy hands, does Freitas.
Explosive blows to the body and head by Freitas. Kotey feeling the power of Acelino early. Freitas keeping a tremendous pace here, very busy, landing with almost every punch.
Although I got to tell you, Steve, a lot of the punches, the right hands especially, are glancing in a downward motion. They're not being as effective as he'd like.
Landing there with the right, and a right hand there. 2 right hands by Freitas just before the bell.
Don't do it again.
Yes. Bring the rubber. Bring the rubber.
Water.
Asking for more water.
Water.
Asking for more water.
Yofi Boham interpreting.
Yeah. You shouldn't stand. You shouldn't stand. Keep on moving. Keep on moving sideways. Keep on moving sideways and let the left go. Let the left go.
Acelino Freitas continuing that overhand right, attempting there is the big left hand. Even though it was blocked, you could see it. He drove Kotey back 2 feet. Later in the round, it's still that right hand. He's throwing it, trying to get it in no matter what he does. There's a left hook. Right hand comes over the top. They're glancing, but they're getting through.
Yofi Boham interpreting for us in the corner. 10 years as the manager of Kotey and the father-in-law of Ghana's preeminent fighter, Azuma Nelson. Of course, the hero of Kotey. Round 3. A lot of folks surprised that we've gone this far.
Well, to his credit, Kotey's never been down, and you know he's got a lot of experience, been with some pretty good fighters, so we got to expect he's going to be here for at least a little while.
But the many periods of inactivity have to take their toll on Kotey. An absence of fights since April. We're told because he couldn't get opponents, promotional problems, the usual things we hear with regard to layoffs.
Well, I'll tell you, what's going to take its toll on him is going to be those right hands to the temple and left hook.
While Freitas is no frills, Kotey is all frills when you look at his trunks. Freitas in the green, Kotey in the burgundy.
It's a nice left hook to the body by Freitas after the right hand to the chin. Noticed a little bit of wince to come out of his opponent, Kotey. Didn't like the body shot.
Kotey, former WBO bantamweight champion, 24-7-1, 15 knockouts. He is unrated by any major organization, but this is a non-title fight.
Hey, you get him up. Get him up. Let's go. You okay?
Referee Tommy Kimmins
Go.
cautioning Freitas to keep those punches higher.
One of the left hooks to the body traveled a little far south of Argentina.
Little blood from the right nostril of Freitas.
Well, definitely Kotey's thrown more punches in this round and landed some better shots. Not enough to win, but enough to let Freitas know he's still there.
If anything, picking up the urgency of the Brazilian. Body shots followed by higher shots to the head by Freitas. And that right hand had to sting Kotey. And peppering him with the left jab is Freitas. Setting up the power shot like that, straight right to the nose. All Freitas. Just smothering Kotey.
Target practice right now for Acelino Freitas.
As we head for the bell of round 3.
Time!
We're doing good here. We're working this very good. But you're going too fast. I need for you to take your time. Use your two hands. Body shots with two hands. Breathe for me. There you go. Close your eyes for a second there. Very good.
We're going to watch Acelino Freitas come in. He's going to throw a left hook. It's going to come down and it's going to come up. And it's just going to be belt borderline, just maybe under the belt by a little bit. You'll watch it as you see the belt line right there, very close to being on the border, but the referee saw it as being low. Later on, Freitas still up against the rope, bang that right hand to the temple, and see how he's throwing it downward. He's taking away from his own power. He needs to throw that in a little straighter.
There was some concern 3 fights ago when the durable Carlos Rios extended Freitas into round 9. Questions arose about Freitas' conditioning and stamina, which Freitas vehemently disputed. Again, it might have had something to do with the weight situation.
Also, Rios is a very awkward fighter, hard to hit cleanly. He'd gone the distance with a number of good fighters, including, I believe, Sugar Shane Mosley. So Rios is not an easy fighter to take out.
Meanwhile, Kotey does have trouble with opponents who pressure him, like Freitas. The overall size and strength has been a problem at times, and he tends to fade in the later rounds. There's a heavy right hand by Freitas. Right on the nose. Another big right hand by Freitas that had to get the attention of Kotey, who is game.
And Kotey sent out 3 or 4 jabs, which kept him and protected him from getting hit with another right hand as he snapped the head back of Freitas.
He's an old veteran at 33, Kotey. That left jab is stinging by Freitas, missing with the right. Earlobe blow there. Halfway through round 4. Again, pretty much target practice for the Brazilian in green, Freitas. He has been effective with that chopping right cross.
But once again, when he throws it on that angle and he sends it downward like that, he's not landing cleanly and he's taking away from his power.
Again, the warning for a low blow. One more and he could have a point taken. Freitas looking to make a statement here tonight in the company of Joel Casamayor.
Nice combination. Kotey's best one, too.
Big body shots by Freitas, using both hands.
One of the problems from time to time when a big puncher fights a fella that doesn't have a lot of power, he tends to forget about his defense and get caught cleanly with punches that he shouldn't. That's happening to Freitas a little bit on the inside now.
Well, this is no patsy that Freitas is fighting. He's a former world champion. He's past his prime. but he's a tough, durable fighter. Alfred Kotey. Heavy right to the head by Freitas. Kotey stays on his feet. Freitas' new wife, Eliana, watching nervously from ringside. Can't be easy. This was Eliana earlier during some of the action. Got to be the first time she's ever seen her husband fight since he hasn't fought in so long.
You know, sometimes, Steve, it's harder to watch a family member, someone you love, fight than doing it yourself. When I watched my brothers fight, it tore me up. For me, it was my job. Just a little different.
Keep that routine up. Don't worry about it. Stay active.
John Paul Gonzalez giving us the words of Oscar Suarez in the corner of Acelino Freitas. And it is round 5. Kotey averages over 7 rounds, but as mentioned,
beautiful body shot.
6.
Beautiful body shot under the right rib cage. You can see the bending over and wincing of Kotey. Freitas landed well.
Hey, you pulling him down, you keep him up. You pulling him down.
Another warning to Freitas for keeping
go.
up. That's the 3rd warning, and the referees being very easy on Freitas, not deducting a point as of yet. Does Freitas look as sharp as you've seen him before? Do you think the layoff has caused some ring rust?
I don't think there's a tremendous amount of rust that's glaringly evident, but I would say this. He's in with a very different style, a kind of style that's never been stopped, never been off its feet, awkward, has a lot of experience, and it's very hard to, you know, styles make fights, very hard to control this type of style.
What if he was in there against a Casamayor or a Mayweather? Of course, he wouldn't have this long period of inactivity between fights in order to stay sharp and focused.
You know, I completely agree, and I think you'll find, and one of the greatest things about the matchup between Casamayor and Acelino Freitas is this. The two best equalizers in all of boxing are incredible speed and accuracy and incredible power and accuracy. He's very powerful and very accurate. Casamayor is very quick, which gets the winner. Speed needs to be a little more active, a little more on for a lot longer, but power is one punch equalizer.
Well, some feel that Casamayor would have the edge against Freitas in light of the fact that he has better overall boxing skills and that he's faster, and that Freitas isn't really ready for Casamayor yet.
All the way around, I'd have to agree with that assessment of things. I think right now I give a big nod by at least a margin of 2-1 for Casamayor. He's fought the better experience and he's looked better in demolishing them.
We'll see Casamayor later in our main event against a boxer named Joe Morales out of San Antonio. Casamayor with a huge following here, being from Guantanamo, Cuba originally, now living in Miami. The pace settling down somewhat, but Freitas still in control.
You know, it's a little something different, though. Freitas is backing up a little.
A little bit.
That's not usual.
But up on his toes, Kotey the more flat-footed of the two. Well, among the heavy hitters of boxing, Acelino Freitas is numero uno, 100%. The only world champion today with a perfect knockout record, ahead of some big names: Shane Mosley, Girov, and Vladimir Klitschko.
And use your jabs and then keep on punching. You shouldn't let your head stand. You should keep on moving to the left and follow it up with jabs. Do not stand. Yeah. You should be a bit fast. Use your combinations and do not stand at one place. Keep moving.
Thank you, Yofi Boham, the translator and manager of Alfred Kotey from Bukam, Ghana, a suburb of Accra, town that has produced some terrific boxers over the years. I mentioned Azuma Nelson, Ike Corte, Ben Tacky. Kotey just having his difficulty trying to dictate the terms. He can't seem to outbox Freitas and can't hit hard enough to get Freitas' attention. And the only thing we wonder at this particular point is how will he respond if Freitas really connects with a bump.
Right now it appears that Kotey is fighting a very defensive fight. Obviously he's got his hands high, ducking a lot, getting out of the way of punches and covering up quite a bit. That's going to not give him an awful lot of opportunity and time to be offensive. He has to start throwing punches if he's going to have a shot at winning.
Bobby, as you mentioned in the early going, one of Kotey's plans was to try and take Freitas deep into the fight and see if conditioning and stamina would come into play. But Kotey, as I mentioned, has had a problem at times in tending to fade in the later rounds himself. So we'll see what happens if this thing goes deep.
Well, he's not exerted an awful lot of offensive energy in the first few rounds. Certainly he's taken some punishment. It's hard to know what he has in the gas tank. And it's hard to know what he has at this weight and way of strength to do anything, should he even get there, because he's building himself a big deficit here.
As fights get longer, he has been known to slacken off and can be out-hustled. He's just not busy enough or aggressive enough at this point for Freitas, although now he's sticking that jab into the face of Freitas, annoyingly. Effective jab there by Kotey. It's the best he's looked tonight. Nice uppercut followed by a right hand by Freitas. Boy, he snuck that one in.
It was a very quick counter. It was real nice. Slip, let it go over the shoulder. The jab of Kotey fired immediately as Kotey brought the hand back. Right hand was on the chin almost at the same time.
Less than a minute remaining in round 6.
There are fighters too, and I have to say this because it just is so, that are hell-bent on surviving. Even if they're not going to win, put themselves in a position to win, or even be overly combative, they're hell-bent on surviving at all costs. And for all we know, Kotey could be that way.
Nice block by Kotey on the overhand right attempt. Oh, beautiful snapping right uppercut to the jaw by Kotey.
Best punch of the night for Kotey for sure.
And that gets the crowd going. It happens in the final seconds of round 6. Showbox, the new generation, returns in 2 weeks with 2 of the best young fighters in boxing today.
The torch has been passed and a new generation of fighters has emerged.
Get the shots off right away.
With the selfless dedication to the sport that their idols once had.
You had the dream, now let's make it happen.
Tough young scrappers eager to make their name and hungry to make their mark. Now watch them chase their dreams in the ring. When undefeated Olympic sensation Francisco Panchito Bojado takes on Eliezer Contreras, plus Olympic knockout artist Jeff Lacey on Showbox, the new generation. Saturday, October 13th at 5 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, only on Showtime.
And in case you missed it, on Showbox earlier today from Tacoma, Juan Guzman defeated Adel Ruiz by unanimous decision. Guzman goes to 16-0. In the main event, Ivo Elder defeated Dagoberto Nahera by technical decision, round 6. Elder to 16-0. And it's round 7. A very good ending to the 6th round by the man in purple, Alfred Kotey. Landing an uppercut to the chin of Acelino Freitas.
And it was a very nice uppercut, but he's not a fighter with one-punch knockout power. You need to follow it up with a left hook and maybe a couple of more right hand, left hooks on top of it if he was going to do some serious damage. But I don't know that he has that in his arsenal.
Kotey registering his best punch of the fight with about 10 seconds remaining in the 6th. A right uppercut to the chin. And as we progress along in round 7. This bout has lasted twice as long as the average Acelino Freitas fight. No knockdowns thus far. Minute gone by. Oh, a heavy right hand that staggers Kotey.
It was a good right hand, but part of it was balance too. He was caught off balance, and he almost toppled to the canvas.
He's never been down, Kotey. And a flurry now by Freitas. Kotey trying to weather the storm. Left hand that got in by Freitas. Right uppercut. And another overhand right to the head. Freitas is pummeling him.
Keeping the punches and bunches, is mixing him up to the head and body nicely.
Tremendous pressure by the Brazilian. And Freitas with no let-up. Tommy Kimmons watching closely. Kotey's never been stopped in his career. 32 fights. All Freitas.
Right now the referee's watching very closely. A lot of the punches being blocked, a lot are missing. And in between all that, Kotey is making sure, like that, he throws a punch or two back to show that he's still fighting.
That's what the referee looks for in a situation like this. If there are no answers, he'd stop it. Or at least you'd hope he would. Kotey is fighting back. A lot of heart. He's got 30 seconds to survive.
The next big body shot that he lands, I'd love to see what happens when Freitas lands. When he's trying, that one looked a little low.
Keep him up.
Quite a barrage here in the 7th round by Acelino Freitas. But it looks like Kotey able to withstand it.
Pero no hay que dejarlas ahí. Usted tiene que ser inteligente. Ese hombre no lo vamos a noquear arriba, ese hombre lo vamos a noquear al cuerpo, ¿ok? Le estoy diciendo al cuerpo hace rato y no me está haciendo caso. Vamos, ¿qué pasa?
Yeah, let the left go. Let the left be strong. Let the left be strong. Do not stand. Do not stand. Do not stand. Move. Move with him.
Freitas lands a real nice right hand to the body, comes up, and this right hand is part balance, part good right hand, but then he just teed off on it. We'll look at it from the overhead. See, he was just leaning back. He caught him well. Later in the round, there's a tattoo parlor is what it was in there. He just leveled everything he had, didn't get some punches through as clean as he'd like, but that's the kind of round you can call 10-8 because it was such a one-sided, lopsided round.
And now it's round 8, round 7, the most impressive thus far by Acelino Freitas. Let's see if he picks up where he left off. Freitas crisp and accurate in that series of punches. There's another big right hand, another right, straight rights.
Those right hands were cleaner. The thud was heavier. You could feel it.
Again, just blanketing Kotey. Once in a while, Kotey able to counter with a left, but not near the damaging type blows that Freitas is offering.
Keep working, guys. Get out of it.
Holding and hitting by Kotey. Again, Freitas just having his way. We're in round 8, halfway through, and just a reminder, Freitas has never been past 9 if it gets that far.
Well, I'll tell you what, Steve, this one right now has decision written all over it. I think that Kotey is kind of resolved that he wants to go to distance. at almost any cost, and I don't know that there's enough firepower left in Freitas, coupled with the good defensive maneuvering that we have with Kotey, that he can get him out of there.
Kotey showing he has a tremendous chin and outstanding resolve, withstanding a lot of pressure throughout this fight, but the most was in round 7. That big right hand that staggered Kotey back earlier. Fortunately, while it was a pretty flush punch, Kotey seemed to be at the very end of it.
Yeah, and he was leaning too, so it took away some of the power, and I think there was a balance coupled in there, lack of balance. Clean right hand, but not as devastating as it could have been.
If he was an inch or so forward, it could have been the end of the fight. Well, we've got an interested spectator watching calmly back in his dressing room, Joel Casamayor. He'll be fighting later in our main event against Joe Morales. He's undefeated. Slippery southpaw with blazing hand and foot speed. Remarkable amateur career. Won the gold medal at the '92 Barcelona Olympics, representing his native Cuba. Defected to the United States just before the '96 Atlanta Games, where he was favored to go all the way again. 25-0, 15 knockouts, and he is chomping at the bit to get to Freitas.
Take a deep breath for me there.
Mucho aire. Eso, okay. Si busca la derecha por aquí.
Use that right hand. Remember that right hook is important here.
Well, something's got to give. Acelino Freitas has never gone the distance, and Alfred Kotey has never been stopped.
A streak is broken tonight.
It is round number 9. Punches being blocked. Some of them are getting through, though, but even the punches that are being blocked are so heavy they have to have effect on Kotey.
I think a lot of people at home would be surprised that when you have a glove laying on your cheek or your jawbone, somebody slams that glove. It's blocked. Technically, it hurts still.
And thank you for not demonstrating that on me.
I love my partner. A lot more jabbing here by Freitas. I think he's looking to set up one of those big right hands, but right now Kotey's just not, he's not biting. He's just going to stay there. He's going to hide. He's going to cover up.
Kotey has fought most of his career at 112, 118, 122, 126. Now campaigning at 130. Freitas is actually closer to 140 for this fight. Said he'd like to move down to 126.
I'm not sure I can buy that one just yet, but time will tell.
He said he would like to take on Marco Antonio Barrera, but the boxing community wants to see Freitas and Casamayor perhaps sometime in early 2002 to unify the WBA and WBO 130-pound belts. This is a non-title fight scheduled for 10. As we have mentioned, Freitas has never been past 9 in his career. 29-0, 29 knockouts.
In about half a minute, that's going to change, Steve.
Looks that way. Freitas won the title in August '99. A devastating first-round knockout over Anatoly Alexandrov. He's made 7 title defenses. Coming up next, our second co-feature. It'll be the IBF version of the 130-pound championship. Steve Forbes putting his belt on the line against John Brown. Into the dressing room of the champion, Steve Forbes. There with Floyd Mayweather Sr., his new trainer. Forbes, a slick, quick counterpuncher who stopped Brown in the 8th in December. Brown sustained a punctured eardrum and severe laceration inside his left ear. Forbes actually behind on the cards, and some feel being outworked when the fight was stopped. But he is the reigning IBF champion. Let's go to Jim Gray. Jim.
Well, Steve, we showed the beautiful new wife of Acelino Freitas, Eliana. She was sitting in her seat, and she was so happy to see this fight. She couldn't take it anymore. She left during the middle of last round. She's now outside awaiting the outcome. Steve?
All right, Jim. Thanks very much.
Steve, if she left during this one, I guarantee she should not show up for the one with Casamayor.
So the new wife of Acelino Freitas, seeing her husband in the ring for the first time, couldn't take it. And it's very easy to understand why. Here it is, the 10th and final round. The first time Freitas has been this far in his career. We wonder if a 30-0 with 29 knockouts will diminish the marquee value just a wee bit of Acelino Freitas. It just doesn't have that ring to it like 30-0 and 30 knockouts. He will no longer be the only current world champion with a perfect knockout record if this thing goes the distance.
In all due fairness to the possibility of the layover and rust factor, there still could be some rust in here. There were a couple of instances where he didn't react quite as quickly, where he wasn't in what I call the zone, that you stay in with being active on a regular basis. So could be a rust factor, could be a number of factors, could just be the awkward style and toughness of Kotey.
You get the sense that Freitas is trying for that 30th knockout here, or is he being a little more, on the low-key side?
I don't think there's any low-keyness to his attack mode. He just wants to get him out, but again, he's worked 9.5 rounds of a lot of energy and doesn't want to get sloppy or careless.
Well, the unblemished knockout record could go out the window if he doesn't put Kotey down.
Well, he's got about a minute to get it done.
Right hand heavy. It's going to take a lot to put Kotey on the canvas. Kotey continues to fight back even though he's getting punished.
No, he continues to put punches together. Just they're not real strong, they're not real often, but they're there.
Freitas has 35 seconds to try and keep his knockout record alive, but Kotey refuses to go. 25 seconds to go. Can Kotey pull off a dramatic knockout and keep that record intact? Seconds. The crowd urging him on, but Kotey staying on his feet. So a moral victory of sorts for Alfred Kotey, and for the first time in 30 fights, Acelino Freitas doesn't score a knockout. So there it is, Acelino Freitas pitching a virtual shutout from this vantage point as he gets paraded around the ring by his corner. A valiant effort by the Ghana fighter, Alfred Kotey. Eliana slowly but surely making her way back to the seats, trying to break out into a smile, but it had to be rough for her to watch her new husband in action for the first time. She actually left the premises for a little bit, as Jim Gray reported on, and now kind of sheepishly making her way back into the arena. Very pretty young lady who had some difficulty watching Freitas fight.
Well, all the drama's gone now, Steve, so she knows he won. It appears that he's not hurt or injured in any way, so
feeling better at least about things, but difficult for her to watch.
To his credit, Freitas, knowing he could very well take the last round off, stayed in there, pressured Kotey, and Kotey, to his credit, fought back, made sure he had punches on the chin or the nose of the champion, just because he didn't want to get stopped, and he wanted to win, but he just didn't have it tonight. He doesn't have all the guns necessary to keep off a great power puncher like Freitas.
And again, you have to wondering what's going on in the mind of Joel Casamayor right now as he watched Acelino Freitas go the distance for the first time. Let's get it up to Ronnie Duncan for the word.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to a decision. Let's have a round of applause for both of these young men for 10 rounds of exciting boxing. Judge Michael Pernick scores this fight 100-89. Judge Mark Streisand scores this fight 100-90, and Judge Peter Trematera scores this fight 100-90. The winner, and still undefeated by unanimous decision, Acelino Freitas!
Well, complete domination by the Brazilian Acelino Freitas, who wins it easily, unanimous decision. And he goes to 30.